Hey guys, it's Catherine and I'm here today with another digital memory plan with me video. These are not videos that I'm going to be doing on a regular basis. It's just more of a do it when I can type of video. But recently I have fallen behind on memory planning, and since I have a full week to fill out, I thought it would be fun to do a video on it. I just did a video on this spread a couple weeks ago, and I have since done this spread right here. And now in this video, I'm going to be working on June 17th through June 23rd, 2019. So memory keeping is my favorite thing to do. It's so much easier for me than functional planning because my days are pretty chaotic. So what I like to do is just write about what happened rather than planning ahead, and then I include pictures and stuff like that. So I have a video that goes into a little bit more detail about memory planning, and it includes ideas for how you can fill your memory planner, and I will link to that video down below in the video description. So for this video, I'm going to be doing June 17th through June 23rd, 2019, and I have already written down everything that happened that week. I wrote it down in my Lloydstrom 1917 bullet journal. I have the pink one. I'll link to this in the video description as well. So just every week I write down the events of each day, what my husband and I watched on TV, and then any pictures from my camera roll that I want to include. So I'm going to be referencing this throughout the entire video, but this is going to be set aside so you're not going to see this anymore in this video. Also, I want to say I am sorry for my hands. They're a little bit stained because I was actually using, real markers and stuff this morning, and I tried to scrub that off and it just would not budge. So I did my best, but that's it. Anyway, if you're new here, then you should know that I do all of my planning and decorating in Procreate rather than GoodNotes. I use GoodNotes as a way to organize my pages within my digital planner, but as far as filling things out, I do all of that in Procreate. So I'm just going to go into Procreate, and I have a digital planning stack that I'm going to pull up right here. So I'm going to import one of the layouts that comes with the Truly Yours planner. I have these saved to my Dropbox. The Truly Yours planner is a digital planner that I sell in my Etsy shop. It's probably my most popular planner. I've been using it since December of last year, and it's very customizable. You can get super creative with all the pages, and I will link to it in the video description. But it does come with a variety of 4 monthly layouts and 4 weekly layouts that you can choose from. I'm not trying to sell you this planner. I'm just kind of trying to explain why I'm looking at all these layouts. So, there's a link. If you want more information on it, you can click on that link. But I'm just trying to decide which layout I want to use for this video. So I'm going to use weekly layout number 4. So I'm going to select that layout to bring into Procreate. And here it is. And the first thing that I actually want to do is cover these boxes down here. I don't want to use those. So I'm just going to create a new layer, and then I changed my brush color to white, and I need to select a solid brush for this. So I am just going to select, this monoline brush that you can grab for free in my Facebook group. And I'm going to cover these lines. Okay, and now that those are covered, I'm just going to merge that layer with my calendar layer, since I know I don't want to get those back. Now I'm trying to figure out how to fill out my planner page. I have actually reshot this a few times because I've had horrible luck, so I'm just starting fresh. I ran a poll in my Facebook group, and I asked if you guys would rather see me create everything for my layout in Procreate, or if you wanted me to incorporate a sticker set that I purchased from elsewhere. And you guys said that you wanted to see me create everything in Procreate. So if you're familiar with my work, then you know that I'm not really much of an artist or anything like that, I use a lot of elements within Procreate to create my own stuff. So I use brushes, I use stamps and stuff like that. I draw what I can, but that's very limited. So I am going to create all of the elements that you're going to see in this video, but I'm going to utilize the text feature and some stamps and stuff like that. And I will link to everything that I use in the video description. If I do reach a point where I feel like I need to bring something in, I'm going to make sure whatever I bring in is free, and I'll link to that in the video description as well. So right now I'm trying to find these washi tape stamps that I have, and they're right here, and I'm going to use these along the top header. So I'm going to increase my brush size. I want to make it pretty big. I stamped right on the canvas, y'all. I did not do it right. I need to create a new layer and then stamp. And now I can place this up here. All right, so I actually think that I want to make this washi tape striped. The areas that are black, I actually want to be this pink color right here. And then the areas that are white, I want those areas to be black. So to fix that, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to, on this same layer, switch over to a brush. It can be any solid brush. I'm going to go to my Ultimate Lettering brush pack, or my Creative Lettering brush pack, and I'm going to select my bounce brush, and I'm just going to draw a box around this washi tape. So it doesn't have to be perfect. So now on this layer, I'm just going to fill that rectangle in black, and then I'm going to use a rectangle selection. So I'm still having trouble with Procreate, by the way, where it won't let me zoom out. It's so frustrating. So every now and then I'll have to put my iPad to sleep. But anyway, now I've got my ribbon tool. I'm going to do a rectangle selection, and I'm just going to grab within this washi. And now I'm going to select duplicate. So now I can delete this layer, and I've just got these pink and black stripes left behind, which this pink matches my washi up here. So now I can just size this to fit, and I can stretch it because it's just stripes. And there we go. So there is my pink and black striped washi, and now I'm going to create my daily headers and then my number headers. So I use those washi stamps as a shortcut, and that was just to save time on this video. You can definitely draw out your own washi. It's super simple to do, or you can find washi images for free on KissPNG or on Google or on FreePic, whatever you want to do. I just did that for a shortcut to save time. And now with drawing my headers, I actually kind of want to recreate the look of stickers. And so I could use those washi stamps again, but I don't want to do that to you guys because I want to create as much as possible from just a basic brush. So I'm just going to draw some boxes. I am going to turn on my drawing guides and then shrink these drawing guides down. And then I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to draw them bigger than I need them at first, because you'd rather shrink down than size up. So I'm still using the bounce brush that comes in my Creative Lettering pack, and now I'm just tracing these drawing guides to draw a box. And now I can select Edit Shape. And there we go. So now I'm going to fill this box. And actually that might be a pretty good size. I can test it out really quick and see. I just love the idea of layering. I can't remember if I've already said that, but I really like to layer whenever I can, and I'm feeling really inspired to layer today. So yeah, I like that. I like how it kind of looks like the boxes are taped down. I don't know. Okay, so now I can actually turn off my drawing guides, and I'm just going to duplicate this until I have one over every box. So when you're doing this, if you do something similar, I recommend having your magnetics turned on. So just duplicate your layer, go to your selection, select magnetics, and then bring it over. I didn't pay attention to magnetics clearly, but when you see that straight blue line, that's how you know it's still lined up. And that's what you want. So now I'm going to merge all of these layers and I'm going to handwrite my days. So I'm just going to zoom in and I'm going to start with Monday. I'm still using my bounce brush. By the way, these elements that I am creating right now will be available for the snooze, slumber, and REM tier on Patreon for June 2019 only. So I don't know if I'm going to get this video out before July starts, but if you were a member of one of those tiers in June, then you should see this file uploaded. If you're not familiar with Patreon, I have a link to my Patreon in the video description. But every month I do a basic planner phrase upload for my doodles and lettering. Once you read more about Patreon, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And anything that I like create myself for my planner that I feel like other people can use, because it's pretty generic, so that would be headers and stuff like this, I include that at the end of the month in my doodles and lettering folder for that month. It's always a good feeling when you're not really feeling inspired, but then all of a sudden you create something that you love. So that doesn't happen very often, but it's happening now. All right, so I've got all my headers, and before I end up merging these with anything else, I'm gonna bring these into the generic planner page and just paste it right here. So now I want to do my numbers. I'm actually going to use a font for my numbers, but it's a free font. So it's called, I believe it's pronounced Iranian Bomb. I'm probably saying it wrong. I have a tendency to mispronounce things. I feel like, I don't know, I'm just really bad at it. But it is free and it's from Font Squirrel, and I thought I had it on my iPad, but I guess I don't. Well, that sucks. Okay, so I'm going to install this font really quick, and I'll link to it in the video description, but I know it's definitely from Font Squirrel. Okay, so it's in Procreate now. And I'm just going to type all of my numbers, 17 through 23. Okay, so I actually want these to have a gold texture. So I'm going to rasterize these, and I am going to, on a layer above this, create just a small fake gold texture. So the easiest way to do that is to go to a website called colorhex.com, and I'm going to search for gold. Okay, and so this pops up and it gives me the hex code FFD700. So now I can go into Procreate, and under value I can type in FFD700. So I've got this color. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to create a line here. I'm actually going to draw a few lines to make it kind of thick. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. And now I'm going to go to this classic slider, and I'm just going to drag down my dot by a few colors to get just a slightly darker shade. And this is going to make it look like the gold is lighter on the outside and darker towards the inside. So now I'm just going to drag down again. And I actually don't want this color to meet in the middle. I want to do just one slightly darker color right down the middle. So I've got that, and now I'm going to go to my adjustments, and I'm going to go to Gaussian blur, and I'm going to blur it. You don't want to do it too much, just slightly. Now what I usually do is I go back to my adjustments and I go to brightness, and I just adjust the brightness just a little bit. And you know, this isn't perfect. It doesn't work as well as getting a gold texture from somewhere, but it's not the worst. Okay, so now I'm just going to put one of these on top of every number and then merge these layers and then create a clipping mask. See, they don't look gold, but they've got a little texture to them. So it's a good way to recreate a gold texture for free. So now I'm going to merge my numbers with that texture. And now one by one, I'm just going to select one at a time with my rectangle tool, and I'm going to place these numbers. All right, so now I'm going to take a little break and then come back to start the memory planning. Okay, so I'm back, and now that I'm down here with some fresh eyes, I'm seeing that I actually want to move my numbers up a little bit. So I'm just going to turn on magnetics because they're aligned how I want them, and just drag these up just a little. And yeah, I like that better. Okay, so before I figure out what to do down here, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to do down here, but I'm going to think about it a little bit longer. I'm going to start filling in dates from my book that I showed you earlier. I'm going to do things a little different than I did in my previous memory planning video. I like to switch things up all the time. I'm actually going to try to put my pictures and events in order. So if there's a picture from that morning, I'll incorporate that and then kind of write about some stuff that we did and kind of do a mixture of pictures and events rather than listing all of my events and then my pictures and then my TV shows. All of the TV shows and movies will be at the bottom though, because that is the last thing that I do every day. Plus, it's just the least important thing to remember. You know, I try to fill my planner with memories and pictures relating to my family rather than TV shows whenever I can. So I'm going to pull up my camera roll and I'm just going to go into side-by-side view, and I am going to search for June 17th. And I took some really cute pictures of Maddox and Ella that morning, so I'm going to pull in one of those. Let's see, I'm going to pull in both of these because I want to see which one I like better. I guess I like this top one better because Maddox is smiling a little bit. Ella had just woken up, so she just was not in a smiling mood. So I'm going to shrink that down and place it here. And then we had a little surprise party for my stepson that day. He turned 11 on the 13th, but he was at his mom's house that week. So on the 17th, he came back to our house and we had family come over and we surprised him the second that he got back to our house. So that was the main thing that happened on Monday. So I'm going to create kind of a big space for that. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the picture that I took of him by his cake. And I'm going to create a whole rectangle here in Procreate. And actually, I kind of think I want it to look like it's been taped. So let me think about what color I want to use. So I think I am going to, instead of doing a single color on this layout, I'm going to try doing colors from my ombre pink color palette that I've started right here. And so I'm going to keep everything within this spectrum. So I'm going to draw a sticky note to write about his surprise party. So, you know, I'm not a great artist, like I said at the beginning of this video, but I'm going to do my best. So I'm going to create a new layer and just using these drawing guides, I'm going to draw a rectangle. I want it to be a longer sticky note. And now I'm going to drag and drop, and then I am going to, y'all, I forgot to create a new layer, so that's fine because I can just duplicate what I've got. So I'm just going to use the rectangle selection to duplicate these back into separate layers. Okay, so now I'm going to create a new layer on top of this, and I'm going to go to my color wheel, and on this screen right here, I'm going to drag this dot all the way to the edge, and I'm going to drag it down a little bit actually because I want it even darker than what the edge of that top line looked like. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this layer into a clipping mask, and I want this to look like it's folded in the corner, so I'm just going to draw a little shape right here. And now I'm just coming back through with that original shade of pink. And it looks like it's the top sticky note on a stack of sticky notes. Does that make sense? Because that's the look that I was going for. So I hope that you guys think that it looks like that. I don't know. So now I'm going to select another shade of pink. I'm going to merge these layers. Now I'm just stretching this to fit. And I've got a lot more pictures that I want to include that day. I've got 2 others plus another little notation. So I'm going to make sure I leave room for those. I was going to create a piece of tape to make it look like it's taped down, but I actually am kind of good with how this looks, so I may do that on another day. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this picture of Sunny over to the Post-it note. And first I need to move this layer on top of the Post-it note so it shows up. And I'm going to put it right here. This way on this note, I'm going to write surprise. And now in a lighter shade of pink, on top of this picture, I'm going to write the number 11. No, I'm not. That looks like crap. Okay, so the other things that happened that day, we ate cake. And then I took Maddox to my parents' house. He spent 3 nights with them. And I hung out at my parents' house for a while. So, let's see. I definitely want to incorporate this one other picture of Ella eating cake because she, look at her. She loved Sunny's cake, probably more than Sunny. I'm just trying to figure out which of these 3 pictures to put. Actually, no, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to include all 3 of these in Photo Quilt. I'm going to build a little collage that just goes all the way across. So, to do that, to make these easier to find in Photo Quilt, I like to go ahead and add these to an album that I created called Photo Quilt. So I can just pull that album up and find them instantly. And now I'm going to go into the Photo Quilt app. It's one of my favorites for building collages. I'm sorry it's sideways. It only works in portrait mode, but I don't want to have to move my iPad and then readjust it and mess with the camera. So I'm working in it sideways right now, but it's a really easy app to use, and I believe it's free. I can't remember, I've had it for so long. So that just saved that to my camera roll, and now I can go back into Procreate and I can go to my photos, and here it is. So I'm going to close this side-by-side view for just a minute and now get this adjusted. So the other event that happened was that we took my 4-year-old to my mom and dad's for a few days. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to go with this color right here. And I'm just going to write it. I'm going to turn on my drawing guides and I'm just going to write it. Okay, and now I know the last picture that I want to include is Maddox. He is obsessed with guitars, and so I got this really cute picture of him holding. This is actually my old electric guitar. I never learned how to play it. My dad got it for me when I was 15 because I said that I wanted to learn how to play guitar because that's what was cool, you know, back then. Like Avril Lavigne was really big and everybody loved Avril Lavigne, and I was like, I want to learn how to play guitar and I want to learn how to skateboard because I'm so awesome. And so my dad got me this electric guitar, and I learned how to play Smoke on the Water. I did learn how to play that song, and that's it. Never learned another song on it. And I never learned how to skateboard. I stepped on a skateboard once because my ex-boyfriend from high school was really into skateboarding, so he got me to step on his skateboard once. And yeah, I was like, nope, can't do this, and just got right back off of it somehow without falling. But I guess that was actually a little bit after the whole Avril Lavigne craze when I finally stepped on a skateboard. But yeah, that was not my thing. I'm way too clumsy. Okay, so the other thing that happened that day was we watched Teen Mom 2. So I'm just going to bring in a little promo photo from Teen Mom 2 because I think that'll look better than writing it, since I just wrote right above these pictures. anyway, does anybody watch Teen Mom 2? My husband and I, the Teen Mom franchise and everything premiered less than a year after we started dating, and me and him are both into like reality shows, and especially MTV reality shows, so we have been watching it together since the beginning, both Teen Mom and Teen Mom 2. We even watched Teen Mom 3 when that was a thing. It only lasted one season though, and so we've been keeping up with all of the drama that's going on with Janelle, because apparently she's not on there anymore. Apparently she was fired, and she's not going to be in the next season. So I'm about to turn on my hotspot so we can get this thing moving, because the internet is really terrible at my house right now. Okay, so my hotspot is on now, and as you can see, all of these pictures loaded, so that's cool. I'm going to type in Teen Mom 2 promo photo and see if anything pops up there, because it's just a bunch of random pictures of some of the people on Teen Mom, and I want like an actual photo. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this picture right here and then color match it. I can actually turn this into a rectangle. So to do that, all I need to do is insert that photo, and I'm going to go ahead and shrink it down to fit over here. And now I'm going to create a layer behind it, turn on my drawing guides, color match. There we go. There's my fake promo photo. But it works. It fills in that space, and that's all I care about. Okay. You know, I'm not loving how I just wrote this right here, and it's got a white background. I think I'm actually going to turn that into a little sticker as well. And this is how I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and change the color of this text to white by alpha locking and then filling that layer. And now I'm going to come underneath it I'm actually rethinking everything now. This is a very raw video. This is like my true process for memory planning, because sometimes, actually a lot of times, I have to do something and then I start seeing how I feel about it and then realize I want to change things up. So Maddox was at my parents' house Monday through Wednesday night. So I'm not going to get rid of what I've done, but I am going to hide that, and I'm going to move these images up, and I'm going to see what it would look like to create one really long sticker that takes up the bottom of all three of these boxes. And I don't know why I'm feeling nervous about it, but we're just going to see how it goes. So I really should have turned my drawing guides on before I did that. I don't know what I'm thinking. All right, now I'm going to go for it. Yeah, I like that so much better. Awesome. Okay, so on to Tuesday. I'm actually going to just speed through the rest of this video. I'll stop to explain how I'm doing some things every now and then, but for the most part, it's just going to be sped through of me adding pictures and kind of doing what I did here, where I draw my own little boxes and then write things in as I go, and then I will come down here and do the bottom part of this page. All right, so I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm not drawing these because I actually want it to look realistic. I'm finding like an image of torn paper or wrinkled paper, and then I am going to draw the tape that goes over the top. So right now I am on free pick. So this is an EPS. It's not technically a picture, but it's completely free. It's not part of their premium. So I'm selecting free download. This is by Vector Pocket. I'll link to it in the video description. And I'm going to open this in my iZip app. Okay, so this file did come with a JPEG. So I am going to pull these in to Procreate. But first I need to save them to my camera roll. So I have this selected. I have the JPEG selected. And I'm going to select Open In. Oh, I'm going to select the file. There's a check mark beside it, so that's how I know it's selected. I'm sorry, I keep messing up. And then I'm going to select Share, and I'm going to select Save Image, and now that's in my camera roll. So I'm back in Procreate now. And here is this. What I'm actually going to do for this, I'm going to select this piece of paper right here. I'm just going to do a freehand selection. And I'm just tracing around the image. But I'm kind of tracing within the image because I really don't want that gray background whatsoever. I could bring this into Magic Eraser and erase the gray background, but I'm going to try this first. You know, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. Yeah, see, that works. That works. All right, so now I'm going to create a layer above this, and I'm actually going to redo this tape right here in a light pink color. So I'm just going to draw it. But I'm going to use these tape lines as a guide. And then fill that. And I actually want it to look like it's taped to this top photo right here. So I've done that. And now in maybe this shade of pink right here, I'm going to write Filmed Life is Beautiful Memory Keeper video. I've not released that video yet, by the way. It is one of the many videos that I need to edit. I try not to release too many product walkthrough videos all at once, just because I don't want this channel to turn into a selling channel. I obviously am going to do walkthrough videos for all of my products. I totally am. I want to. But I don't want people that are subscribed for the tutorials to think, okay, she reeled us in with tutorials and now she's just trying to sell us stuff nonstop. So that's why it's going to be the next product walkthrough that I upload, but you'll probably see this video before you see the planner walkthrough, if that makes sense. I've got 2 more pictures I want to include from that day. Man, it's not going to fit. So that just happens. That is when I rely on Photo Quilt to help me out. Okay, so I've got to backtrack because I just realized that we watched Vinny and Polly on Tuesday, and we actually watched that on Wednesday. So I need to find a picture from the movie Us, not USA Today, because that is what we watched on Tuesday. I had forgotten all about that. Alright, so I'm just going to be totally honest with you guys. I found out on Thursday that I have previously had a stroke. So I was just kind of in a state of shock and depression over that because I'm only 30 years old. The stroke is not a recent event. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but they believe that it is connected to when I either had postpartum preeclampsia with my son or postpartum hypertension with my daughter. So this stroke would have happened before I even established the Naptime Alternative brand. Whether this stroke happened nearly 5 years ago or nearly 2 years ago, it was before Naptime Alternative was formed. So it will not affect my work whatsoever. I did have postpartum complications with both my children, and stroke is a risk factor for both of those conditions. It's rare. It's very rare. For even postpartum preeclampsia, having a seizure is more usual for, once you have a seizure with preeclampsia, it becomes eclampsia. But that's a more likely complication than having a stroke, but stroke isn't unheard of. So it was a silent stroke. There's not a moment where I'm like, I know this moment I had a stroke, because I didn't have anything like that. But there's such a thing as a silent stroke. And so I had one, and they know that I had one because I have a lesion on my brain. It's a hole. It's basically a little hole in my brain. So there you go. That's probably why my memory is not as good as it used to be, and my speech is not as good as it used to be. I can still talk and I can still communicate, but I get tongue-tied a lot, or sometimes I say the wrong but similar word to what I mean. But I've been doing that for a few years now. So yeah. So I found that out on Thursday, and even though, he said this isn't going to affect anything, you don't have to stop working or anything like that. It's an older stroke, so if it hasn't slowed you down now, that means it's not going to slow you down. I'm just trying to keep going, and I am going. I haven't really changed anything other than I'm now making more healthy decisions in terms of what I'm eating and stuff like that, because it kind of freaked me out, and I really want to get on this health kick and stay on this health kick because I want to be as healthy as possible for as long as possible. So that's really the only thing that changed, but it's not going to affect my work. But I keep getting distracted. I, for a few days, was just in a state of just shock and depression. Just to find out that you've had a stroke, regardless of your age, is really upsetting. But then to be young and to have one, when you are supposed to be in the prime of your life, it's just a feeling that I hope nobody else ever has to go through, because it sucks. So that's what happened. Okay, I'm going to give you a quick tip for things like this. If you freehand crop something, but then it's still got these little areas that you want to remove, the easiest way to do that is to zoom in and then do another little freehand selection, and then just move it to the outside. That's not part of it, by the way, that's just showing the picture underneath. And then switch to your eraser and just erase it. Can I just say, it is so weird to like decorate bad news like this. It's just really weird, but I mean, it's part of what happened. It's part of my life, so selfie that I could put, but it's really horrible because you can see how exhausted I am. Like over here, this was me pre-kids, and this is me now, and I look terrible. I look horrible. I just look exhausted all the time. I don't have time to do my makeup, which I don't even have makeup on in this picture or whatever, but like you can just see how much more rest I got back then, and I was like in my early 20s, and then this is me now. So my hand was probably covering that, but that's probably a good thing. I'm gonna bring in my July spread. I mean, by the way, my kids are totally worth it. They're worth everything that I've been through, all the health problems and the exhaustion and everything. I wouldn't change a thing about my kids. I love my kids more than anything. I'm just saying I'm exhausted and I look like crap now, but I love being a mom. All right, and now I'm gonna bring in a picture from the newest Halloween movie because that's what my husband and I watched that night. To be completely honest with you, I'm not big on horror movies whatsoever, especially like slasher movies. But I did want to see this because I am a big fan of Jamie Lee Curtis. I just think she's awesome. I just love her. I can't even tell you why, but I just love her. So I agreed to watch it. And my husband is big on slasher films. He really likes horror and slasher stuff. So I just agreed to it. And I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis was amazing, but I don't know. I did think the movie was pretty stupid though. And I love Danny McBride too. And didn't he like help write it, or maybe he produced it or something, which I thought was cool. I think it's cool that he does like projects outside of comedy. I just don't like slasher films. Nothing against anybody in that movie. I just don't like slasher films. Okay. So there's my week. I really like how it turned out. It's probably been about 2 hours total, but I redid some things that I'm going to end up cutting out of this video anyway that you won't even see, because I started off going in a completely different direction and then I hated it and I scrapped it and I started all over with what you see in this video. So honestly, this probably would have taken me like just over an hour if I hadn't done all that. Well, I say just over an hour, probably close to an hour and a half, and maybe if I didn't take talking breaks either, it would have taken me maybe like an hour. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to put June 2018 at the bottom. So I want to make this really bold. So to do that, I am going to create a text layer, and I'm going to use a font called Trevor. I'm going to go ahead and type June 2019. I might have said 2018 earlier, and obviously I meant 2019. But I have this font, Trevor Outline, and that's what I'm going to use, and I'm just going to warp it to fit the bottom. Before I rasterize this, I want to adjust the spacing. I know I do this little thing here for a lot of my spreads. I did it for my July Plan With Me actually, but I like how it looks. It's just really bold and bright, and I just like it. Okay, so I'm gonna rasterize that layer and I'm gonna fill in my letters. Now I'm gonna create a ombre effect. I actually think that I want to do something similar to what I did when I was creating the gold effect for my numbers. I'm going to start on the outside with a light pink and then work my way in towards the darkest pink. yeah, I like how it goes to dark and then goes back to light. I believe that's called a radial gradient, but I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that. Okay, so that's it. I've got this all filled in, and now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save this to my camera roll. I'm gonna save it as a PNG, and then I'm gonna go into GoodNotes, and I'm gonna place it directly after this page right here. So I've already got my blank page set up. What I personally like to do in my planner is place my layouts that I create in Procreate on top of a blank page in my planner. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna pull up my toolbar and zoom out and make sure I'm all the way zoomed out. Excuse me, my voice just went out for a second. I'm gonna make sure I'm all the way zoomed out, and then I'm going to adjust this. Okay, yeah, I love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to contact me if you have any questions. You can leave a comment down below, or you can contact me on Facebook, or you can post your question in my Naptime Alternative Facebook group. That's a really great group where there's tons of helpful people. So if you have a question, I highly encourage you to ask it there, because not only do I answer questions there, but so do other people that are really good and really advanced with digital planning. Check out my Patreon page, which is a digital planning club where you'll get all kinds of exclusive monthly bonuses. Check out my website, naptimealt.com, where there's tons of planner-related freebies. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more digital plan with me videos and digital planning tutorials. I will see you guys in the next video.